All right, everyone, get ready because today we are diving deep, deep into the mind of Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, this is
We
exciting.
are going to unpack this incredible talk he gave, just jam-packed with insights about finding your passion and, really building a life that lights you up.
Yeah, and it's not just about, amassing wealth or even launching rockets into space. This deep dive really gets to the core of what drives us as humans, what makes us tick.
Exactly, and that's what I love about this talk.
Hmm.
So we're digging into this YouTube video, this excerpt from a video on the channel Business Motiversity. It's called I Got Rich When I Understood This. It's like, how intriguing is that
Don't
title?
worry. Yeah.
And it features Jeff Bezos. And it really just got me thinking about, like, imagine being that little fly on the wall. Back in the day when Amazon was just starting out, it was just this idea.
Right.
Bezos is in his garage. Can you picture it?
Yeah.
He's pitching this wild idea of selling books online to his investor, Dave. And he actually tells Dave straight up, like, I'm going to be the richest man in the world.
Whoa.
Can you imagine being Dave in that moment? I mean, the internet was brand spanking new. Like, people were just figuring out how to, like, send an email.
Right. Yeah.
And here's Bezos with this, like, almost outlandish confidence talking about becoming the richest man in the world by selling books online.
It's remarkable. It really speaks to the power of vision, doesn't it? Like, it's not just about predicting the future, it's about actually creating it. And that unwavering belief in himself and in his vision, that's what's so inspiring.
Yeah. It's like he could already see it.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is that he wasn't just predicting it,
Hmm.
right? He was actively creating it. He was putting in the work. And that's what I think is so powerful about this whole, like, finding your passion thing. It's not just about, stumbling upon it. It's about cultivating it, like nurturing it like a plant.
Right. Like, you have to tend to it.
Exactly. And, it makes you think about all those, like, sliding door moments we all face in life,
Yeah.
right? Those choices we make that can totally change our path.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what if Bezos had listened to his boss at
Yeah.
the financial firm? He had a good job,
Yeah.
right? He was doing well.
Safe and secure.
Exactly. But his boss even said, that sounds like a really good idea, but it would be an even better idea for someone who didn't already have a good job. You know,
Wow.
classic
Yeah,
line, right?
yeah.
It's almost like the universe's way of testing us. Like, are you really committed to this dream? Are you willing to bet on yourself?
Exactly. Exactly. It makes you wonder how many times we talk ourselves out of our own dreams because of fear.
Totally. And, it just speaks volumes about the difference between, like, settling for a good job
Mm.
versus, like, really pursuing your true calling.
Right.
I think Bezos even talked about this distinction between a job, a career, and then, like, a calling.
He did. He actually said, and I quote, you can have a job, or you can have a career, or you can have a calling. And if you can somehow figure out how to have a calling, you have hit the jackpot, because that's the big deal.
Hitting the jackpot, right? I mean, that's what we're all after. But how do you actually, find that calling? Is it about, like, waiting for this lightning bolt moment? Or is it something we got to actively seek out? Like, what do you think? Yeah.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
And, I think Bezos would say it's a little bit of both.
Okay. Yeah.
You have to be open to exploring your passions, like be willing to experiment, to try new things. But you also can't just sit around waiting for inspiration to strike. You've got to put in the work.
He definitely walks the walk on that one.
Okay.
Remember those stories about Bezos as a kid, like building all these crazy contraptions in his garage?
Oh, yeah. Like, what was it? Like the automatic gate closer or...
His solar cooker? He was like rigging up these alarms to, like, prank his siblings. I mean, come on. That's amazing.
The entrepreneurial spirit was alive and well, even back then.
It's like he was bubbling inside him from the start. But, here's what I find really insightful. Bezos talks about how, yeah, we should appreciate our talents. We all have them. But our pride shouldn't come from the talents themselves, right? It should come from the choices we make and the effort we put in to develop those talents.
Yeah.
It's not about, like, bragging about what you're good at. It's about, like, really owning those choices and putting in the effort to cultivate those gifts.
Yeah, like you're not defined by your natural abilities, but by what you do with them.
Exactly. And I think that's a really empowering message. It's not about, like, resting on your laurels, right? It's about constantly challenging yourself to learn and grow.
It's that growth mindset in action, right? Believing that you can always improve, always become more than you are today. And I think that's really key when it comes to finding that calling we were talking about earlier. It's about being open to new possibilities, new challenges.
And not be afraid to, like, completely reinvent yourself along the way.
Exactly. Like, look at Bezos, right? He didn't just stop at books. He could have easily just been content with being the book guy of the internet.
Right.
But no, he kept pushing, kept expanding, and look at Amazon
It's
now.
insane, right? And you know what? It reminds me of that quote. The only way to do great work is to love what you do.
Oh, absolutely. Passion is key because when you're truly passionate about something, you don't mind putting in the extra effort, the long hours. It doesn't even feel like work, does it?
No, it becomes almost like an obsession in the best way possible. Like you're just so driven to bring that vision to life.
Exactly. And sometimes that means taking risks, like Bezos did when he left his stable job to start Amazon. Remember how we talked about his boss saying it was a good idea, but maybe not for someone who already had a good job?
I know, right? Talk about a leap of faith.
Yeah.
But it goes to show that sometimes you have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone, to embrace a little bit of uncertainty, to really make those dreams a reality.
Absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, you know? They let that fear of failure hold them back from pursuing their true potential. But Bezos, he seems to embrace that risk. He even has that saying, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
I love that. It's about having that patience and discipline to build something truly meaningful.
Right. It's not about rushing towards the finish line. It's about enjoying the journey and trusting the process.
And sometimes, that path leads to unexpected detours, which can be scary.
Oh, definitely.
But those detours can also lead to the most incredible discoveries. It's like, remember when I was building that computer?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. You were this close to throwing in the towel.
I was so frustrated.
Huh.
I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I was ready to just give up.
But you didn't.
I didn't, because I took a step back, did some research, asked for help, and eventually I figured it out. And let me tell you, that feeling of accomplishment, it was like euphoric.
It's the best feeling, right?
It's the best because it's not just about building a computer. It's about proving to yourself that you can overcome those obstacles and achieve something you set your mind to. And
Yeah.
it just gives you that confidence to tackle even bigger challenges in the future.
Exactly. And that resilience, that ability to bounce back from setbacks, that's crucial no matter what you're pursuing in life. And I think that's what Bezos is getting at when he talks about the choice between a life of ease versus a life of service and adventure.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's like, will you look back on your life and be content with playing it safe? Or will you crave that feeling of like pushing your limits, of making a real difference in the world?
It's a powerful question to reflect on, right? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
It really makes you think about what really matters, right? Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, are you going to be satisfied with just coasting through life? Or are you going to wish you had taken more risks, pursued those passions, really gone after those dreams?
Right, because comfort can be tempting, but it rarely leads to growth. And I think deep down, we all crave that feeling of making a difference, of leaving our mark on the world.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you don't have to have it all figured out right now, you
Yeah.
know? I mean,
Yeah.
look at Bezos. He didn't start out with this like master plan for Amazon. It wasn't like, okay, step one, sell books online. Step two, take over the world. No, it was about following his curiosity, taking those small steps, and then just like iterating and adapting along the way.
Right. It was about constantly experimenting, learning, and evolving. And that's so important to remember because we often get caught up in this idea that we need to have all the answers, that we need to have it all figured out before we even start.
Totally. And it can be paralyzing, right?
Absolutely. But Bezos is like, nope, just start somewhere, take that first step, and then the next one will reveal itself. And you know what? He actually asks this series of really thought-provoking questions in his talk. It's like he's giving us this like cheat sheet for a more fulfilling life.
Oh, yeah. What were some of those questions?
Okay, so he asks things like, will you follow dogma or will you be original? Will you choose a life of ease or a life of service and adventure? Will you wilt under criticism or will you follow your convictions? Like, whoa, those are some deep questions.
They really make you think. He's like challenging us to examine our values and then like actually live in alignment with those values.
Exactly. And to not be afraid to be bold, to take risks, to really go after what we want.
Even if it means like failing along the way, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
Because failure is just part of the process. It's how we learn and grow. And you know what? He actually talks about the importance of apologizing when you're wrong.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, he emphasizes the importance of humility, which I think is so refreshing, especially coming from someone who's achieved the level of success that he has. It's like he's not afraid to admit when he's made a mistake, to own up to his shortcoming.
It makes him seem more human. Like he's not this perfect robot who always makes the right decision. He's just a guy who's figured out a few things along the way.
Exactly. And he's still learning, just like the rest of us.
And he says this really powerful thing towards the end of his talk that really stuck with me. He says, every time you figure out some way of providing tools and services that empower other people to deploy their creativity, you're really onto something.
That is such a powerful statement because it reminds us that true success isn't just about personal gain. It's about creating something that benefits others, something that makes a positive impact on the world.
And it doesn't have to be this like huge, grandiose thing.
Right.
It can be something small, like helping a friend in need, volunteering in your community, sharing your knowledge with others. It's about finding those everyday ways to make a difference. And I think when you approach life with that mindset, it just makes everything more meaningful.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we're all connected and that even the smallest actions can have a ripple effect.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the mind of Jeff Bezos, we want to leave you with this. What kind of impact do you want to make on the world?
What will your legacy be?
Keep those questions in mind as you navigate your own journey.
Because just like Jeff Bezos in his garage, you have the power to create something amazing.
You just have to take that first step.